One thing I forgot to mention when I was doing that video about the demon cop guy thing is his coughing. Throughout the video, you'll hear him do like a in his voice. That is a thing that a lot of people do when they're demon possessed or becoming demon possessed, because the demon's trying to acclimate himself to the antenna, the body, your body, and it's like a you trying to tune in a radio station. Maybe you're going through some interference. It's like that's what that is. Like a lot of times you'll hear them do that, and it's not. It's like like they're trying to talk. They're trying to acclimate themselves to the body. They're trying to get into that unit. And Killing Joke, a band I talk about quite a bit. Jazz Coleman. Well, I haven't in a while. I haven't done much on them. Who gives a fuck? The point is, Jazz Coleman, the singer, he does a lot of channeling demons when he performs. I've seen that happen live, and on their records too. There's the 1990 album, Extremities. I forget what it's called. I know the album, it's great, but I always get fucked up on the name. Extremities something and something. It starts off, and he's coughing. He's doing that cough, that struggling with getting, before he even sings a note. It's on Spotify. Another one of their albums is on Spotify that you can hear it too, is an album called Pandemonium. And there's really really interesting story behind that one. And we're going to get to it as soon as I'm out of this place. Yeah, so they did an album in 1994, or released it in 1994, called Pandemonium. It's a great album. But the first 4 tracks, they recorded the vocals in the King's Chamber out the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Of Giza. They had an in with someone there that they knew. The bass player for the band Killing Joke is Youth. He's a famous producer, and he's also in a band with Paul McCartney of the Beatles called The Fireman. I've never heard that stuff, but yeah, whatever. He's a world-renowned producer. He's very well thought of in the production world. Did a lot of good stuff. So he had a connection there. A woman, I forget who it was. I forget her name. But anyway, they worked something out with the guy that is in charge of letting touring groups go through there, like to look at the pyramid. Basically a bribe. Paid this guy off to let them record in there for 2 nights. And I don't know how much they planned on recording in there. I think, if they just had those 4 songs in mind, or if they were just going to try to do as much as they could, I'm not really sure. It was just vocals. He was just doing the vocals in there, and then, they'd put it over the music they had recorded, whenever they recorded the music part of the album. So the first night they went in there, it was really bad. Just bad vibes. Didn't feel good. They didn't get anything done. All their equipment was dying. Things that had batteries with it were running out. They'd replace the batteries would be gone. It was just kind of a disaster. One of their crew guys who was working with them, I guess he dozed off at some point in the King's Chamber, and had this strange nightmare or vision about eyes looking at him, and he went tearing out of the fucking pyramid. It freaked everybody out. And when they caught up to him, he was hysterical, talking about how some eyes were looking at him. The eyes were on him. And he didn't go back in there. So the first night was a wash. They had nothing done. Nothing worked. Just a whole bad vibe to the thing. They're all really upset. I'm like, fuck, if we just fucked, you know, if we're going to be able to do this. So next night, they went and they took some different precautions. They had the friend of theirs, that woman who was a contact there, you know, and these people are all occultists and magicians. And so what they did is they went in the second night in a more sort of reverent way. The woman had some of her friends come and wear the proper clothing, whatever that happened to be, to go into the pyramid. They remained in the Queen's chamber, while the guys that were recording went into the King's chamber. And they took some other precautions, magical and technical as well, and it turned out great. You know, they had a ceremony before they went in to the spirits of the, you know, the pyramid, and they just took all these kind of extra precautions magically that they didn't take the day before. Or that's the gist of what they did. They were more cautious about it. And when they got in there the second night, everything worked out. It all worked out. And they got 4 songs done, which subsequently ended up being the first 4 tracks on the album. The vocals were done in the pyramid. The song's Pandemonium, Exorcism, the second track, Communion. You know, put the names up there. But the second track in particular, Exorcism, he begins hacking and doing that, and he does it throughout the whole fucking song. Demon channeling, you know, in my opinion. But yeah, that's what happens, because they're trying to get in there. You know, the ones I've found out here and seen out here and the experiences I've had, they're pretty much always doing that. Except that one lady that was right in the spot. Doesn't that always happen? I'll be talking about something that happened in the area, and just as I'm talking about it, I'm in the exact place. That happens all the time. All the time to me. But yeah, that lady that was quietly making all the noises, you know, that cued me into what her the situation was. She wasn't doing any of the coughing. But, and the reason is, I just thought of it as I'm saying it, is because they had full control of that body, and they were fully in there and very confident there. Like, even when I came, you know, they didn't even react to the name of Jesus, which tells me there was either a lot of them in there, or a much stronger one that I'm used to running into was in there. Whatever the case, she wasn't doing the coughing. Did I do that? It's not the cough that carries you off, it's the coughing that carried you off. I think I did that the other day. Well, I just did it again, so there you have it. But yeah, that's definitely a part of demons trying to get in, or demons trying to assert themselves in the body. So in his case, I mean, you can hear it. You can hear it all. Now, again, that's another one of those things that you wouldn't know if you're not kind of clued into spiritual warfare. I mean, the whole scene. You know, I went over it, you know, the other day, so it's I'm not going to go over it again, but that was one thing I forgot about. I forgot to point out. Guy's got a whole thing going on. In Ross with the Halloween stuff already. So, I of course had to start buying things. Got a nice shower curtain. Halloween time is great. What is it? Yeah, it's only August and already bringing Halloween stuff in. the thing is, like with Ross, like that when everybody starts selling the Halloween stuff, they clearance it right away. I remember by September, you know what? Who gives a shit? Get this out of my pocket here. Yeah, so demons in particular, like, I was talking to Nia about this morning. Like, when I first started doing this a couple years ago, I very sheepishly began talking about demons. I remember, like, the first year, I didn't even mention anything about it. It just sounds so out there, you know, the whole concept. Now, like, there's so much of it on YouTube now. Everybody's talking about it. At least in my algorithmic timeline and what they suggest to me. I wonder why. But the I think what it is it's just a symptom of what's going on in the world. There's so much of this stuff. People are seeing more of this stuff. They're experiencing more of this stuff. And it used to be just people involved with the church talking about it, and then me. That was it. Just me and old priests. I mean, I'm sure there were more people, but I didn't see them. The other day when I was talking about demons too, at one point I mentioned how they're all male, or they seem to be all male. The very first demonic experience I had was definitely a female. 1996, summer solstice. My apartment was, the front part of my apartment was a comic book store. Or the less retarded way to say that was, I had an apartment behind my comic book store. I think that's what I should have said. But and I saw one that night with a friend of mine. It was a really crazy experience. I've done videos about it, about the whole thing. But basically what happened was, it was Easter, it was the night of the summer solstice. And we weren't even like thinking anything like that at all. We were just sitting we'd sit in the store after hours because there were windows. In the apartment out back, we had windows, but there were windows on the next door buildings. There wasn't much of a view. So after hours, we'd sit in the store where we had these big glass, you know, all front of the building was glass. And we had these neighbors that lived above us. And a girl and a guy, like a couple. And we're just sitting there, and this car comes barrel-assing up in front of the store, like parks right in front of it, like screeches, jams on the brakes. And we didn't think it was one of our friends because people would just drop by all the time. You know, when you live in the comic book store, you know, people just drop by because they know you're there and they know you can't tell them to fuck off because, you know, you're open. We weren't open at that point, but people would come by all the time to drop in. So we thought it was one of our friends. So we're trying to see who it is. It was raining outside, or drizzling. There was moisture in the air, is what I'm trying to say. And we're looking, we're about, how far away were we? Let me see. You think all my years of civil engineering I'd be able to deduce this quickly, but I would say we were less than 100 feet away from the car. Just under, no, way less than that. 60 feet. I don't know. We could see the front seat, is all I'm saying. We could see the driver, or we're trying to see the driver. It was a little drizzly out. So we're both like, who the fuck is that? And we're looking to see which one of our friends it was. And why they showed up in such an action movie way. So we're looking, and I'm like, who the fuck is that? And I look at him, and he's looking at me like, who the fuck is that? And it appeared to us to be like a Beetlejuice-esque character. A big mop of black hair, coal black eyes, but there were eyes in there. And what it looks like was Neil Gaiman's character, Death, who I actually have on my arm. But a much scarier version. And she was smiling this giant, crazy smile, that one, like from one side of her face to the other. Very unnatural, very strange. She was sitting in the front seat of the car on, I don't know if it, I guess you could say the passenger side. It seemed like she took up the whole, like she was in the middle of the whole front space. It was like we weren't even looking at the front seat of the car. We were looking at just kind of at her. She was existing in this space. And I think what was going on is we were seeing into her dimension or plane. I guess from what I understand, when you see into their world, if you can see them, usually you don't hear their incorporeal here because they don't have bodies. But when you can see into their plane, some military guys had a story like this when they were testing these new goggles that allowed them to, they were like red instead of the green night vision goggles, and they had to recall them because they were seeing fucking demons because they were looking into the dimension where they did. When you look into their dimension, you can't see anything in the background, you're just seeing them. I don't know, I probably explained that stupid, but... And she was staring right at us with this grin, this smile, and like, when she looked at me, right, my blood felt like it was ice water. And I felt like she was looking right through my skin and right through my body. And it was a really weird fucking experience. Like, it was, I started to laugh and started to tear up, and I'm saying out loud, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Who is that? And I look at my friend John across from me, who was living at the place with me, old guitar player for one of my bands from years ago. He's going through the same thing. He's like, I don't know, what the fuck is that? And he's tearing up, you know, and laughing. And as she's sitting there, she's looking at us, her eyes never break contact looking at us, and it feels like you could tell that there was something very malevolent there. It was, I'd never experienced anything like this before or since, even with dealing with demons that I since, it's never been like that. It's never been like that. The thing is, with the demons I've worked with since, I don't really see them, you know, you don't get to look at them because, like I said, incorporeal, they're usually in someone's body, so it's a different thing. I was seeing this thing, we were both seeing this thing, and we were fucking laughing and crying and shitting ourselves at the same time, and we're just staring at her like, I'm like, oh dude, I can't look at her, and I kept turning my face because I know I can't, looks like she's looking right through us, and we're both smiling, like laughing, but also crying, and he's like, what the fuck, man, what the fuck, what the... It felt like a half hour, but it was probably like 4 minutes this whole thing went on. So finally at one point, and I can't explain why, I said, I'm going over there. And he's like, no, don't. I'm like, I'm going over there. And I got up, I walked around this bar thing that cuts through the store. It was like a little island where we had, like, you know, the expensive comics or whatever in them. And I go around this thing and walk down this little flight of stairs. I don't want to go over there, but I feel like I'm being pulled. Nah, I can't say I feel like I'm being pulled. I was going there against my will in some way. I don't know if it was a positive thing, like I was being, you know, emboldened by the spirit of God or whatever, and I was going to just face this thing down, or if this thing was calling me to it. Whatever it was, I made a beeline for it at the door. Now, the door's locked. It's a glass door. You can see right out. But I could clearly still see what's going on. I couldn't really see what she was wearing, but I know the outfit was black. That might have been her body. Her lips were black, like they looked like lipstick. She looked like that character Death, like an ugly version of that mixed with Beetlejuice. And she didn't look like she was speaking, just smiling. Just smiling, and she would turn her head, like pivot her head like a dog does, and it kept like going around like that. It was like, almost like she was trying to scare us or mock us. It was just it was fucking horrifying. Scariest thing I've ever experienced in my life, then and now, and to now. And I've seen a lot way crazier upfront shit and dealt more with than that, but for some reason, well, that was the first thing. And it was the only time I actually saw one of them in person, because they're usually, I don't see them. I deal with them. I talk to them or interact with them, but you don't see what they look like, because you can't. And now I'm at the door, and I start to go for the lock, and he's yelling like, "Don't, dude! What are you doing? And I'm like, "I don't know." It was fucking weird. And then I unlock it. I'm just about to push the door out to go outside, and all of a sudden, right in the front seat, it turns into the couple from upstairs talking to each other. It just in a second, the scene just changes. It's no longer a crazy, monstrous demon lady, but it's now the couple upstairs. The reason they pulled up so crazy is maybe they were having an argument or something. And that was it. And then it was over. And and that's all we talked about for like 6 months. To anybody that would listen, everybody of course thought, oh, you're just smoking weed, which we were, but smoking weed has nothing to do with this fucking situation here. And yeah, we saw into her dimension and could see her. Nothing else ever happened like that. I mean, of course, other things happen. And I've seen weird things too. As I'm reminded, looking at the alloy here, the night me and Craig, and I did a video with him on it, where we saw some kind of performance going on right here on the water at like 3 in the morning of see-through people doing some kind of show, like a dance kind of thing on a platform floating in the water that wasn't there. But so I've seen stuff with my eyes that were like, that appeared physical or that I could see, but it's rare, and that was, I've never felt anything like that before. I felt like when she looked at us, she was seeing right through our bodies, like I was made of paper, and she was looking right into wherever my core being is. At the time, before I understood how any of this stuff kind of is laid out, I was thinking like she was looking into my soul. And what she was looking at was, she was looking at me, not my body, but the actual me that's in me. It's like, just like you. You're not your body. You're the electromagnetic energy that's bouncing around in there. That's what you are. You're the energy being inside this meat sack that is basically an antenna that you broadcast to from what I believe to be the 5th dimension. But that's a whole nother, we've covered all that before, so as far as I'm concerned, that's settled science. But fucked up situation. I never really, it was weird. Never had something quite like that happen again. But in the time we're in now, we're headed towards something, and I always say whether it's the little season, as some say it is, or whether it's the regular time of revelation. Either way, whatever side of the fucking argument you fall on there, and unfortunately it is an argument, and I wish it wasn't, because why are Christians trying to divide themselves again over some stuff that kind of, I mean, it matters, but not really. We have no control over it. And no matter what timeline we're in, we're headed towards something. You'd have to be unconscious to not feel that. Or maybe like 95% of these people out here, you're a robot, you have no fucking soul. So, you know, and I'm not saying that to even be mean, it's just that's, you know, 95% of the people around you are, they're not like you. They, and you shouldn't feel bad for them because I don't think they translate empathy the same way we do, so I don't think they feel bad about it. That's a whole other subject, though. And also, I'm going to tag that as settled science. All right. I'm going to go inside. Until then, until next time, until I light the cigarette. Until next time, and like always, don't blame the teacher. Take a look at the mountains. Blame the school. I know the Eternians ain't that smart because they're made of cartoons, but how could you not know that Faker wasn't He-Man? He's got a completely different hairstyle.